today demos. I don't expect topics, status. One, 7 merge AddAdminMenu to support storing and parsing of grids in documents. Now we can use grids directly as properties. And that's it. Object core. What do we have? What do we have on main? Last week, this one. Throw when SQLite file not found. So what just we did is to throw an exception if you start your tenant and the SQLite database file is not there and you are not in setup. So if you're in setup, then it's normal that the file doesn't exist, it will create it. Otherwise, it will just fail saying the file you specified in your config or that you didn't specify in your config is not there. So it won't try to create it, just fake. That's all good. Remove the necessary argument in ThrowIfNullOrEmpty, something I saw in PR and then I fixed in all the code, which is that if you use the new extensions like this one's argument exception ThrowIfNullOrEmpty, you don't have to say what is the name of the argument because you can just, with passing the argument, it will actually do that automatically using the name of the property here. And I will show you how it works. There is a custom attribute.
I thought I submitted a PR that fixed all these.
Or maybe you
Maybe I missed something. Yeah.
So here you see the second one, which was specified. You don't have to because of that caller argument expression name of. Meaning if it's not there, it will use the value of this one, first one. So these are crazy things that you can pass there. That's it. Fix ILocalClock perf issues. I remember I commented on this one. I don't remember that. Oh yeah, I changed that. So yeah, same thing, something I saw during this PR. Nothing to do with the PR, but just added that one, a singleton instead of a scope. And then I saw that it was not, the startup was inheriting from database. We don't need to inherit from database or to implement iStartup or whatever. Or should we find that if a class is named startup and if it has a method named configure services, it will invoke it. Okay, the same way that ASP.NET does that. So you don't have to inherit from database or override a method. You can. Will work, but we also support that, and anything that you provide in the method will be injected by this one. Just nicer, you know. So this here is to cache in a distributed way the time zone of the user, but also to use a custom selector to use the time zone of the user instead of the default website's one. And let Antoine change the meeting. So that's a new feature. It's not a new feature, it's just a perf. So there is this feature, but it's just fixing the perf apparently. Oh yes, caching correctly because it was always looking at a database for the value and now it's cached correctly. Yeah, that's the fixing the cache. Things I added here from the PR as far as I can remember is this one, static sliding expression instead of creating pair every time. I put 1 hour because I think it suggested 1 minute, but I mean, who's the user who will change their settings every minute? So I'm like, okay, let's prevent the database query every hour instead of every minute. We could go further if we want. At least if the user is not there in more than 1 hour on the website, then it will be removed from the cache. Though it's just a string of 10 chars in the cache, so it doesn't matter much. So that's good. Then so account updated. NodaTime 3.1.11 update. Compare row names with ignored casing because in some recipes they were uppercase, in some others they were lowercase, and some tests even pass. So now all the comparison to a row name is all in all in lowercase. See like this one, and also fixed or updating the case for this recipe to match everything. Type in ticket store docs. We've seen an issue about how the cookie contained too many things, and we commented on the issue that there is a ticket store feature that you can use. Probably that's why I want to solve the issue here. Search icon. GraphQL 7.7.2, big update, so many changes. So very good contribution from Tony. So now it's updated to 7.7.2, and then I think later there will be an update of the version here to 7.8.0. So now we unblock on the latest of GraphQL.net, which is great. Lots of API changes. Remove using aspects of the file, multiple warnings or suggestions. Refactor DbConnectionValidator just to refactor it, prevent some DisableCors or whatever. Now it's returning the connection and the dialect. Remove hardcode from LocalizationPart shape name. I don't know what it's fixing, but it looks okay. Getting off, yeah, because
It just allows you to implement your own editors when you use the other one.
I don't know, it's also probably there is something there. I don't know when we added this method to compute the actual shape name, but like the group and everything, yeah, that matter. So that's great. When you find issue like that, we need to look at is there any other that we missed?
Oh, I'm sure there is a lot.
Okay, looks for the name. Okay, optimize ElasticIndexingService. What is this today? HTTP one-shot execute after end of request. So you delay some code to execute process content item.
It just runs the same thing in the background because sometimes if you have a lot of content, then it takes a while. So you push it to the background and let it run. To synchronize the indexes.
Does it run as part of the request when it's done, or
when it's done, because it runs that background job.
Select all content types. What is that? It's complement. Select content types. Oh, selector checkbox now. Okay, I see. So updating JavaScript to support the select all content types instead of checking one by one. Yeah. You update phone number, update from, I mean, how many times do phone numbers change? But what kind of issues can we find? Update would be adding missing parts from yes manually. Okay. Update 7.0. Generate activity while importing workflows. So when you export a workflow, an HTTP request workflow, the URL contains a token that is invalid in a different tenant because they might not use the same keys, data protection keys. So the part of the URL with the token is wrong. So here in the import of this step, it's regenerating this token here URL by using the token lifespan. So it will generate a token that is valid only for this workflow activity, but with the lifespan that token was made with. Thinking about it, might be wrong, but it's okay. Like the lifespan of an activity, no, the lifespan of the is the lifespan of the token. Okay, that's fine. Okay. That and putting the service to that. So that's good. Now you can re-import exported activities using request. Fixing Amazon S3 storage without configuration for the exception yet. So if you enable the feature now, it won't fail. If it's not configured, it will just show you. But it's not fine. Just ensuring it's okay. What's the map? How do you update that map? I have no idea. Fix ID warning static can be made static. Fix generators. If you have questions about C#12, just ask Mike. He knows all the tricks now. Why is just this one showing running?
Because it's a class that
just
doesn't
this one.
have.
No, that's wrong. You don't do that for this method. You do it for the file, for the project, for the solution. Like we can have an attribute here on the file to disable all the warnings for the file. You don't have to do that for every method.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So, yeah, and when you right click, it will suggest you. So if you don't know what to type, it will you say from file and to add it at the top of the file. So we could add it to all the migrations, or we can add it to the full project, saying, well, maybe you want to see that, but yeah. So on the file, on the migration files, we could add this.
Yes, ugly.
What? Why is that?
I'm trying to remember why I did that. I'm not sure. I think it's actually the same thing because it tells you to make it static.
Well, then just ignore it, like remove it completely because it's stupid then.
Maybe we should just remove that warning altogether.
Yeah. I can, my code was nicer.
And maybe we should just remove that warning from the editor.
I didn't know you could pass. Oh, there is a if less than that and that. Interesting. So my only concern is if less. I never know if it's strict or not. I was using it right before this meeting and I had to check. I didn't even check. I didn't use a method because I wasn't sure. Less than or equal. Okay, because I said or equal. Okay. Because when I was doing math, when we were saying something is less than, if it was strict, we say strictly less than. But in C#, it's the opposite. If you say less than, it's or equal. Well, it's strictly, but then if you say or equal, it's not strictly. So that's why I'm confused with this thing. For those who don't know here, what Mike is doing is creating a regex here as an attribute on a static property in a partial class, which will generate the code source to parse a regex like this, which is faster. And also we make the application start faster because it won't have to compile or use reflection or whatever to, not reflection, but to build the parser dynamically like before, like this. Now it's pre-compiled like this and faster. C# code, new attribute. Or .NET 8, no, maybe .NET 8, but C# code. And that. Okay. Unnecessary using statements. Well, I should be visible the services that configured. Okay. Pause and copy paste. That's great. Length per sky. So okay, I will say so. I want to see the previous years to understand when we started using Metro. A long time ago, I believe. Then we did. Nope, that can we go. So I'm surprised. Here, 2021, and also a messy ones, probably why the name is familiar. JavaScript error when there are multiple steps. Here, I'm in route. Oh, huge change from Sára. Now, this is independent here. Now all the routes have been moved from startup. It's code like this to an attribute like this. Much simpler to read. It's not centralized, which I don't like, but it's much simpler to read. So much easier to write actually in this case. And this is the name.
That's the route name.
Wow, I didn't know you could use a pattern for the route names.
I don't think you can in the route. I think it's only here. Because she replaces it in the attribute itself. You can use other like area controller. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to specify the area anymore also. Which I'm confused with because how does it know?
Because area is in the route parameter, I think, or no, the route data.
I'm still confused. Seems to work, but I don't know how it works. What is nice, I was just thinking about it. So you can define a default, but when the default doesn't apply, like there must have been a custom route here. See /background task that calls the index action. So this pattern here doesn't work anymore. Background task. So without the index, in this case, it's just background task. So that's great. So what are the two arguments in this case? Pattern.
The first one is the route, and then the route name. I mean, in most of these cases, we don't really need a route name, but the reason why it was added because someone out there could be, like redirecting to a route name. So we didn't want to introduce a possible breaking change. So that's why we carried over all the names.
It's better to use a route name when we generate URLs because if one day we want to change a URL, then we can easily change it without breaking anything.
Well, that's if you're using the route names. If you're actually directing, yeah.
If it's better to use a route name.
It is better.
But it doesn't mean it's better that we should change everything to use route names.
Yeah, but it's better to use the route names if you're actually consuming them. Like when you're generating URLs, I don't think we actually use route name to generate URLs.
No, but we could, like some places.
We could. I don't think so, actually. I did a quick lookup because I was curious.
Well, I'm sure there are. I'm pretty sure I've used them. So.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's nicer. We should be using route names. It just makes things easier.
Right. Yeah, here, it's the one. Name and menu extension to add and node. Okay, we talked about it. We do it. Prevent unhandled exception. Oh yeah, there was a safety issue, like some things are accessing the metadata concurrently.
I'm actually thinking or trying to think if we should even remove the lock now and test it after the last change.
Okay, at least to write a comment because I'm not sure this is the correct fix, but it's fixing. Like it's
yes,
using a hammer, but whatever. Yeah, so I just wanted that. So this is so the issue was that it's very common in dictionaries to do add. But if it's there already, the add will fail. So if you want to prevent any failure, just do the index way, like always assign name, and it will add it or update it. So that would be another way to do that to fix the issue. But if we have it doesn't have here, and when we add it, it's already there, it means between this line and this line, something added. And yes, what fixed after that is that Lampersky filed an issue saying there was an issue with the schema generation for GraphQL. And the issue was that multiple builder of the GraphQL schema are called concurrently. That's what I saw. The concurrently here might be an issue. It was not about the issue, but multiple schema builder were called, and then there was an issue refreshing it, and we fixed it. But I saw it was a concurrent building, so it's possible that without the fix we did yesterday, two concurrent builders will try to add the same thing type, which was the issue we saw. And then, yeah, so maybe we don't need that anymore. It is fixing the problem. And if we don't delete, it won't hurt because it means just one thread now is accessing it, which means the lock will always be passed through and won't block anything. User localization settings, this I don't really understand. I put a comment on the PR and I see the first. My comment was if we put a value like this, document why it's -150 and not -666. Why does it have to be -150? Meaning what should be after, what should be before? Because if it was changed, it's because we want it to be happening before something or after something. So we need to document it because tomorrow I would create a PR that puts it to -50 just for fun, and it will break someone, and we don't know why. So we need to document the relative value. What is it for? User localization feature, it allows to be able to configure the feature per user from the admin UI. It's a startup, no feature. Okay, good. Fix recipe steps with polymorphic types. Mike found out that when we implemented STJ, we checked that we could create deployment plans and they were stored correctly in JSON, meaning all the subnodes were correctly typed. We didn't try to run one because when we read this JSON, we also need to map the types. And for that, you see it was commented out by Jean-Thierry. So it was work to be done. For that, we need to create a custom serialization option that contains all our configured subtypes using this technique here. And then
is there a reason why you didn't put the default in
yes.
Online 42?
Yes, the default is just with standard like indentation, but it doesn't. The default is a static value. this static value doesn't contain the list of derived type options which are coming from the I and per module. So yeah, and this is also what we use when we serialize. When we serialize the content, we actually use the SQL document manager. And in this case, SQL was configured like this, but in the store, so as a singleton, so we don't need to do it anymore. When this JSON was read, it was read by taking the string from the recipe and trying to load it. So not using SQL. So in this case, we need to pass custom serialization options. So meaning whatever we do today to serialize JSON is not using the default JSON serializer either. It's using a custom one that is passed to SQL options. So what we could do is just resolve the store, the iStore, and take the serialization options from the store. But I think it's a mismatch, so I just built one that was containing the options.
And maybe shouldn't we register a content serializer like a default one?
Yes.
So we
yes, that's something I thought about. We could do that. So we could register this one with the polymorphic things, which in this way people will just resolve a JSON serializer like this, JSON serializer options that will be default. This is what we do with HTML encoder. Okay, that's what AspNet do. So we do register an HTML encoder or JavaScript encoder for encoding stuff. So we could do the same thing, like register a default JSON serializer options, so that people, when they will resolve that, they will get one that would have also that. So this can be done as a singleton, and this should be, when in the registration, use a lambda that takes a service provider that will resolve the I options here, and then build that. If you see what I mean.
Shouldn't we just do the same content serializer that YesSQL uses?
Maybe. So make one and then resolve it from the iStore and also from these classes here. That will work. Yeah. You will do that?
Yeah, I think we should.
And then you found out that it was not just the event length, but the layers also. And the layers had the same comment about missing serialization things. Because in the recipe steps, we actually store some JSON as part of the recipe step. So we need to serialize it as something that has local subtypes, like here, an object. I don't like also this name, the object. I didn't want to change it, or the one with the default. Yeah, the one with the default serializer is called JOptions or JOptions.default, and that seems weird. I think we should have like JSON options.serializers.default, but if we have it in the BI, then we don't need that. We can just resolve all the time with JSON.
But if we register content serializer, then maybe we can just add an extension, wrap that into that extension.
I'm not sure. At least register JSON serializer options and a good one, and then we can use it anywhere. OpenID update. Yeah, updated it. Must be important. Time to decorate interactive endpoints with DisableCors. I feel like we had an issue with that.
This one is security. It mentioned in the comment in the issue or in the PR. It's a potential risk not to have it, so that's why he added it.
Well, it's just to prevent that it doesn't work, because if there is a cross policy, then it will fail. Now it will just work. Yeah. Settings. Okay, let that work. Yeah. GraphQL. Wow, you did it. GraphQL Explorer. Oh no, it's not updating the GraphQL Explorer, it's fixing it. That's okay. So you fixed it because the lifetime was wrong for the services, and then some state was reused and said, no, you can't register the same type multiple times. We agreed on this one being transient. And transient, so that's better. It's good because you said it was reused multiple times in the first request. So we trust you. And I can do update and .NET 8.02, which shipped today, I believe, because it's Tuesday. All good. Okay, questions? Topics? Or lunch, I don't know. It's Tuesday. Antoine, is there Champions League today? There is Champions League today. Oh, crap. Antoine is watching Saturday. Topics. Topics. 1.9, there are a few bugs that I'm looking online, so we'll have to look at them.
Have you reviewed the minimal API performance? Just curious.
No, I didn't check it. Your numbers were showing that it was a little bit faster. That's what matters.
I don't know if it's approved though, because every time you run it, you'll get a different output.
Okay, I can run it, but yeah, I don't have time these days, so I'm trying to focus. Yeah. I will open it just to show people what to do.
I'm wondering internally if there is a lot of benefit. Like, is there a lot of less objects being created? You know, yes. That's well, I mean, in theory it is, but you know, it'll be nice to see a graph that shows, you know, how much savings. Yeah,
it's request per second latency, but it depends also what you do behind that. If you do a big SQL query, then yeah, it's whatever the SQL query is doing. Everything else won't matter. And I loved like how you split it. So if we look at the thing before, it was a controller. There was multiple actions. And here you have multiple each endpoint in a class. And to register it, you have add display content endpoints, add create content endpoints, add get content endpoints. So you call individually each of them instead of having everything in this file, which minimal API would encourage you to do by design. It's not that supposed to do it this way, but it's easier to just throw everything here. You split every endpoint in a specific class with an extension method on iEndpoint round builder, and then you just say add something, and then it will map the thing, and the method will be just below. That's nice.
There is an issue on line 17. I should have started with EP dash. You know, I don't know.
I think
I didn't try. In endpoints, route names.
Yeah.
I don't know. Possibly.
At least JSON back. It's missing here, I believe.
No, it's part of the controller, the old controller. Also accepts that as
I see. Yep. It's a query parameter. Okay, I mean, about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have to inherit from the controller. Less attributes, obviously. But it's linear, so it's supposed to be faster. And I did it for something that is an API endpoint. So there is less views and layouts and everything, so it's easier to manage. But you still need something that uses Razor just to show.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't work, but the idea, if we can somehow get that to work, that would be nice,
Yeah.
because we'll need to do controllers. But
it would work with Liquid because there is a view engine, but it's not the main usage here. So if we could change some APIs to use that instead, if they are just APIs not returning views, meaning with layout and stuff. Yeah. That's your fake engine here. What kind of control? Oh, that's that's content item management. I thought you would do the queries one using queries, because it's just read, execute the query, return JSON. It's nice that it's working. I'm surprised. Is it actually working with authentication? Maybe it's working because if you pass a lambda, maybe it will find the attributes and say, okay, it knows. Also look into the new features in C# in .8 that's using source code generation for more APIs. Maybe there is something to enable to get even better perf. Because these lambdas here, it has to do some reflection to bind this code to this method. So I'm wondering if the new way that generates the code that will do the binding, we call it the CDG, will actually make it better. And if it's opt-in, I don't remember. Is it CDG? I don't remember. It is in the feature. Nice. And with name. Okay. All good. So we'll meet on Thursday. We'll see what PRs we have to review. Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye-bye.